Okay, folks, we're going to set up castles of Mad King Ludwig. First thing we want to do to set up the game is we'll place out our boards here. Our scoreboard up top here, our corridor board here in the middle, and then we have our small rooms board and our large room board. And then down here in the middle on the bottom, we have our contractor board. Now, these four boards will be set up the same way, no matter what the player count is. However, the contract board has two sides. On the first side here, we have it for 2 and 3 players. And then on the reverse, there is a 4-player version of the game. Okay, so for 2 players, obviously we're going to use the side for 2 and 3 players. Okay, I'm going to set these up in the middle, where everybody can reach them, especially these boards here. Okay, now, as I said, there are different size rooms. We have the small rooms, which range from 100 square feet up to 300 square feet, and then the large rooms, which range from 350 square feet up to 600 square feet. Okay, now, if we look at the room board, we can see shapes defining what the shapes of the room tiles are. Okay, and then there's also the square footage number on the back of the tiles. Okay, we're going to take the room tiles of each different room size, and we're going to place them in the appropriate spot on the room boards. Now, as I said, the large rooms here go from 350 to 600 feet, and there are 6 tiles of each different type of room. And then the small rooms go from 100 to 300 square feet, and there are 9 tiles of each different room. Okay, along with the room boards, we also have this corridor board where we will store stairs and hallways. Alright, now the hallway tiles are double-sided, showing a regular hallway on one side and then a downstairs hallway on the other. And there are spaces on the corridor board for regular and downstairs hallways, but it really doesn't matter. You just, when you purchase a hallway, you'll take it and decide which side to use. Okay, doesn't matter how it is on the board. So we will place our hallway and stair tiles on the corridor board. Now there are 9 hallway tiles and 6 stair tiles. Okay, now depending on the player count, we will alter how many tiles are on the boards at the start of the game. If we're playing a 4-player game, we're going to use all the tiles that come in the game. If we are playing a 3-player game, then we will remove 1 tile from each of the large rooms on the board here, and 2 from the small rooms board. Okay, and then we will also remove 1 stair and 2 hallway tiles from the game in a 3-player game. Okay, we will return these unused tiles that we removed in the box. They will not be used for the rest of the game. Okay, now if we're playing with 2 players, we remove 4 of the small room tiles and 2 of the large room tiles, along with 2 stair tiles and 4 hallway tiles. Okay, and again, we will place any of these tiles that we take back in the box. They will not be used for the game. Okay, these are the room cards. And with the room cards, what we're going to do is we're going to give the stack a shuffle, and then we're going to place a number of cards equal to 11 cards per player on the small room board here for the card room stack. Okay, so we'll give this deck a shuffle, and for a 2-player game, we will count out 22 cards. Okay, we count out 22 cards. We place it here for a 2-player game. For a 3-player game, we count out 33 cards. For a 4-player game, 44 cards. Any unused cards will be returned to the box. They will not be used for this game. Okay, these are the bonus cards. Okay, now what we're going to do is give this stack of cards a shuffle. We're going to deal 3 to each player, and then we're going to place the rest of the cards here on the small room board here. Okay, now once the players look through these 3 cards, they're going to choose which one they want to discard. Okay, they'll keep 2, discard 1, and they will place that face down on the bottom of this stack here. Okay, without any other player seeing it. Okay, these tiles here are the king's favorite tiles. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to select 1 tile for each player in the game. Now, as you can see here on the contract board for a 2-player game, there's room for 3 king favor tiles, but we're only going to use 2 of them. We're going to leave the 3rd one blank. And then if you were playing a 4-player game, you would flip the board over. As you can see, there's space for 4 king's favor tokens on it. Okay, now being that this is a 2-player game, we're going to randomly select 2 tiles, 1 for each player, and place it on the 1st and 2nd space on the favor board. If we're playing 3 players, we would select 1 more, place it here. And again, for 4 players, we flip it over and fill all 4 spots with king favor tokens. Okay, any remaining tokens will be placed back in the box. They will not be used for this game. Okay, next we have marks in denominations of 5,000 and 1,000. Okay, we're going to take these and put them in the table where everybody can get to them. Okay, now being that we're playing a 2-player game, the 2,000 mark spot on the contract board isn't used. So I usually will place the money or an extra king's favor token to block that spot off as a reminder that that 2,000 spot will not be used. Next, we will give each player a reference card. Okay, 15,000 marks, a foyer, and a score token in the player's color. Okay, and the unused player aids and the foyer and score tokens will be returned to the box. They will not be used for this game. Okay, once you have given each player the cards and money that they need, you will select a first player. They will be the master builder and get the master builder token. Okay, that player will then take their score token and place it on the 0 on the score track. Okay, the next player will take their score token and place it on 1 on the score track. Okay, and then that will continue down till the 4th player places their score token on 3 on the score track. And you are now ready to play Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Okay, folks, here we go with Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Okay, now, in Castles of Mad King Ludwig, we are builders who are hired by the Mad King of Bavaria, Ludwig II. Okay? What we're trying to do is build castles to make the king happy and score the most victory points in the process. Okay, now to score victory points, we will do this by building rooms in our castle, and then certain rooms have abilities that they will grant us additional victory points in most cases. Sometimes it's negative, and we'll get into that. Okay, and then we also score points by completing rooms, certain rooms. You know, they'll give us a reward. Also by these bonus cards and the king's favor. Okay, and we'll get into all that in 1 second. Now, every round, the master builder will refill the contract board. Okay, on the first round of the game, he will actually just fill it instead of refilling it. Okay, now to do this, the master builder will draw a card from the room's card draw pile here, and then take the corresponding room size of that card. Okay, and he will do this, draw 1 card for each empty space in the contract board area. Okay, now there can only be 1 tile in each space below the contract board for each price. Okay, so in the beginning of the game, for a 2-player game, the master builder will draw 5 cards and their corresponding tiles. Okay, 2-player game, the 2,000 mark area is left blank. Okay, and I put the bank there to remind me. Okay, but in a 3-player game, you would draw 6 cards and their corresponding tiles. Okay, so master builder will draw 5 cards, okay, and their corresponding tiles, and then he will take the room cards that he drew and discard them, placing them here on the rooms board in this designated area there. Now the master builder has a decision to make concerning these 5 rooms that he just drew using these room cards. Okay, he has to decide where on the contract board he wishes to place them. Okay, now the reason he's doing this is because each round players will pay the master builder to purchase these rooms in the contract area. Alright, so he wants to place them where he thinks he will profit most off of them. And also, being that he will go last, he wants to place rooms that he wants in a reasonable area where he thinks nobody else will buy them and they will get them. Okay? So, for simplicity's sake, we'll just put them where they are. And again, you can only have one tile in one space underneath the market board here, the contract board. Now I put coins on these tiles for the next step, and I'll explain that in a minute. But say it's the next round, nobody bought any of the tiles that were out originally. The master builder can now rearrange these tiles in any order he wishes to. Okay. Now it won't be the same master builder; it'll actually be another master builder. But the master builder can rearrange these tiles in any fashion that they choose to. Okay, and then say subsequent round, there's only one missing, then they would draw a new card, grab a new tile, and then they could rearrange these tiles in any order that they choose to. Now, if at any time during the game a master builder draws a room card and he cannot draw a tile of that room card size from the room board because that stack is depleted, then the master builder would simply discard that card and draw a new card. Say it's the final round and the master builder has to refill 2 rooms on the contract board, but only when he has 1 card. In that case, he would draw the card up to the maximum he can for the empty spaces. Okay, drawing the tile that corresponds with the card, and then he would discard that or those cards into the discard pile, give all of those cards a shuffle, and then draw up to as many rooms that are needed from the room cards and fill in those empty slots. So now the master builder filled the board. We move on to the next step, which is going to be the player to the left of the master builder will have the opportunity to purchase a tile, whether it be one of these tiles on the contract board or one of these tiles in the corridor board. Okay, or the player can pass. All right. Now to purchase a tile from the contract area here, the player would simply buy the tile, paying the master builder the cost of that tile. Now, as you've seen, there was a coin on here because this tile wasn't bought in the previous round. Say the player only had 14,000 marks. He needed 15,000 marks to buy the tile. He could use the money that is built up on the tile to pay the master builder and then pay him 14 more, and he can then afford to buy this tile. Okay? Or he could keep the money himself if he had enough to cover the cost of the tile that he wished to buy. Okay? His choice. Okay, now alternately, say he doesn't like any of these tiles here. He needs a hallway or a stair. Okay? The player could choose to buy one of these tiles off the corridor board. Okay? To do that, they again pay the master builder 3,000 francs or marks, which is indicated down here on the corridor board itself. And then he could buy either 1 stair or 1 hallway. Only 1 per round. Same with the tiles here. You can only buy 1 per round. Now say he doesn't want to buy any of these tiles down here on the contract board or any on the corridor board. The player can then choose to pass, in which case they would take 5,000 marks from the bank, place it in their play area here, and then play would pass on to the next player. Okay, so I moved on a little bit and built up a little castle so I could explain how you place tiles after you buy them from the master builder. Okay, so like I said, you buy a tile, paying the master builder. Okay, if you're a master builder, instead of getting paid, you would pay the bank. Okay, once you purchase the tile, and only one tile, whether it be from the contract board or the corridor board, you can then place this tile. Okay, now there are a few rules they have to abide by. The first rule is if a tile cannot legally fit in a space, meaning it overlaps another tile, then you cannot purchase that tile. You have to have somewhere in your castle where you could legally place that tile. Otherwise, you cannot purchase it. Okay, next, your castle has to have at least one exterior entrance to the castle. Okay, now as you can see, this castle has one exterior entrance or exit, depending on how you're looking at it, to the castle, but this exit is enclosed. It's in an enclosed area. That's illegal. Okay, it has to be on one or the outer ones. So if this tile here wasn't here, we have a exit. It's perfectly legal castle. Okay, this way there is no exit other than in an enclosed area. It's illegal. So to place a room, you would simply put it down, and that room would have to be placed where one entrance connects to the entrance of another room. Okay, so here the guest bedroom connects to the larder through this entrance here, and it also connects here to the meat locker, okay, via these entrances. When placing a room, you may place a room where one room is blocked off by a wall, as long as at least one entrance is connected to another room with another entrance. Okay. Now, while this room here is placed now, it will not be able to be completed, because in order to complete a room, you need to connect all of the entrances of a room to another room. Okay, since this one is being blocked off by this wall here, it is not connected. Therefore, it cannot be completed. Okay, now rooms can be placed in any 90-degree angle. Okay, they cannot be connected on a diagonal. As you can see with the circles, as in the case of the secret lair here, it only has two entrances, but they are at 90 degrees. Okay, some of them have them at the other end of the tiles where there's four, one going straight through this way, one going straight through that way. Another rule contains to downstairs tiles. Okay, you cannot build downstairs tiles which have these staircases with the arrow pointing down in them, unless you have a set of stairs there to go to them. Okay, now as you can see, the stairs go from light gray to dark gray. The light gray will always go on a regular tile, whether it be your foyer or in another room, a regular room. Okay, and the dark gray area would connect to the downstairs area. Now, it is legal to build a regular room adjacent to a downstairs room. However, a regular room cannot connect to a downstairs room. Okay, so here we have a room that is adjacent to a downstairs room, meaning they are touching, but it is not connected from one entrance to another entrance. Okay, that is perfectly legal. But however, you cannot connect a regular room to a downstairs room by entrances unless you have a staircase in between. Now, you cannot have two staircases back to back. Okay, that is illegal. You cannot do that. Okay, you cannot ever connect a staircase to a hallway as long as it's a downstairs hallway. As you can see, there's a dark side and a light side of the hallway, which represents regular hallways for the light side, downstairs hallways for the downside or dark side. Okay, you can't connect stairs to a hallway. Now, you can connect two hallways together in your castle as long as they are matching hallways. Like this is two regular hallways, they can be connected. This is two downstairs hallways, they can be connected. Okay, you cannot connect a regular hallway to a downstairs hallway. Another rule is that you cannot have a room adjacent to the iron fences on the outdoors tiles, which have this little tree symbol in the lower left corner. Okay, so this tile, even though it is legal to have a tile adjacent to a downstairs tile, it is illegal to place this here because this tile is an outdoor tile, and the side that you are having adjacent to another tile is this wrought iron fence here. Okay, you can't do it. Now, when they say adjacent, they mean touching the sides of a tile. Okay, now, when you place a tile, okay, you buy a tile and then you place it, you're going to score points for that tile automatically when you place it. So in the case of the guest bedroom here, we just bought and placed, we would receive 3 points, indicated by the symbol here in the top left corner of the tile. Okay, it has a castle symbol with a number on top of it. Okay, so we gain 3 points. We give ourselves 3 points on the scoreboard. Now, once we score the points for laying the tile, we will look at the center symbols on the tile. Not all the tiles have it, as in the case of the laundry room, that does not have these, but most of them do. Okay, now, when we look in the center portion of the tile, we will be able to score points there, usually. Sometimes we get negative points, but usually they are positive. Okay, now there's 3 different types of these type of center symbols. Okay, first one we have here is we will gain points when this room is connected to a room with a specific symbol. Okay, so the guest bedroom here, we will gain 2 points when this room is connected to, that's what this symbol in the center means, a food room. Okay, now food rooms have that chalice on it. We are connected to the meat locker here, in this case, which is a food room. The 2 entrances connect, so we will score an additional 2 points. So we simply go up, give ourselves 2 more points. Like I said, some of these tiles give you negative points. The activity rooms here, which has this loop symbol on the lower left corner of it, will always give you negative points, and they are always one of these tiles with a brick border on it. Okay, as you can see, every other tile in the castle has these stone borders. The activity rooms have these brick borders, and they give you negative points. Okay, and we can see that here. If we look at the 9-pin alley, we will receive negative 1 point for every room adjacent to this tile that is a food, utility, fireplace, or sleeping room. Okay, and again, adjacent means connected on any of the 4 sides. If we place this guy here, we would get 5 points for placing a tile, but then we would lose 1 point for the dirt room here, and another point for the gallery of mirrors here. So, in essence, we would only gain 3 points for placing this tile here. The final symbol is specific to the downstairs rooms, and that is this global reward. Okay, if we look at the Venus Grotto here, we can see we will gain 1 point for every corridor in our castle. That means every one in the castle, okay, when this is placed. So, say now we built the grotto room here. We have 1, 2, 3 corridors because the foyer is considered a corridor. That would give us 3 additional points. Now later on, if we built a corridor, we gain another point. To sum up scoring, we would gain any points for placing the tile. Then we would add or subtract any points for the center symbols of a tile, if they have them. Then we would have to check adjacent tiles to see if they would gain or reduce our point values. Okay, and then finally, we would have to check the whole castle to see if we could score. Okay, because like I said, these downstairs tiles have a global point value for them. Now, when a room is completed, we get an additional reward for that room. Okay, now as I said before, a room is completed when all of the entrances to that room are connected to entrances of other rooms. Okay, they are not connected if one room entrance is connected to a wall of another room. Okay, all of the room entrances have to be connected in order for that room to be considered completed. We have 8 different room types, and they each give us a different reward. Alright, now first, the king likes to hear music and watch plays, so we have activity rooms. Again, they are rooms that are bordered with that brick border and give you the negative rewards in the center. Okay, if we complete an activity room, we get 5 victory points. Alright, so here in the case of the 9-pin alley, we have all 3 of its entrances connected to entrances in other rooms. We would gain 5 victory points. The king also likes to be outside, watch the birds and flowers and stuff. Okay, whenever a outdoor room is completed, which has this tree symbol in the lower left corner of it, the player would take 10,000 marks from the bank and put it into their supply. Okay, next, the king likes to eat, so he has food rooms. Whenever you complete a food room, which has this chow symbol on it, you will be able to take an extra turn. Okay, so say we finish this meat locker here. Both entrances are completed. We can then take another turn, meaning we can buy another tile from the contract board, or we could buy another corridor from the corridor board, or we could pass it and simply take 5,000 marks from the bank. Okay, so next, the king likes to tinker, likes to build stuff. So we need utility rooms. Now, the symbol for the utility rooms is this hammer and anvil in the bottom left corner of the card. Okay, and every time you complete a utility room, like this drill room here, you will then be able to draw 2 of these reward cards. Choose one, whichever one you think will benefit you. Place that one in your area there, your play area, and then discard the other one by placing it on the bottom of the bonus card stack. Okay, now living rooms are where the king can relax and enjoy the benefits of being royalty. Okay, they are indicated by this flame symbol on them, and when you complete a living room, you can rescore that room. Okay, so we have the gallery of mirrors. Okay, so since that's completed, all 4 of its entrances are enclosed. We could then score an additional 3 points. Okay, now, if, say, this weren't here, say we had the stairs here instead. Okay, this particular tile will let us score 2 points for every corridor it is connected to, and the stairs are corridors, so you would score 2 points when you place the tile or the stairs next to it. Okay, now since we've completed the living room completion reward here, we can then score that again. So whenever you complete the living completion reward, you will rescore the placement score and then any center symbol scores for that tile. Okay, next we have the corridors here. Okay, the king needs to be able to walk through his castle. You know, he needs hallways and staircases and foyers and grand halls. Okay, anytime you complete a corridor, like we have here, these stairs are considered a corridor, you will be able to place another corridor. Okay, now you can only place 1 corridor per turn. Okay, so let's say we would place it here. Okay, and then if that completed another room, then you can do the completion reward for that room. Okay, now however, if you cannot place a corridor, then you simply can't do it if you finish the corridor reward. Okay, next, the king likes to sleep and dream about what he's going to build next. Okay, so the sleeping rooms have these Z symbols on the bottom of them. Okay, when you complete a sleeping room, that will allow you to choose one of the stacks of tiles on one of the room boards. Okay, you would take the whole tile stack, and then you can look through that tile stack and choose either none, 1, or 2 of these tiles, and then place it on top of the room draw stack. Okay, and then you would shuffle the remaining tiles and place them back on the board in the appropriate spot. Okay, now this will be beneficial if you say want to get a certain type of room out on the board. As you can see on the back of each of these tiles, you have the square footage of the room and then symbols indicating what the tile may be. Okay. Now another reason to do this is at the end of the game, for every depleted stack on the card on the room tiles, you will gain 2 points for each of those types of tiles that are in your castle. So say it's the end of the game, there's only 200 tiles left. We completed a sleeping room, we could then take them and place them where the draw stack would normally be, and then we could score 2 points for every 200 room we have in our castle. Now the final type of completion reward is the downstairs rooms. Okay, like I said before, downstairs rooms are rooms with the stairs going down. This is where the king keeps his dungeons and stuff like that. Now these work a little different than regular rooms. In order to claim the reward for completing these rooms, you would only get the reward for every 2 rooms that you have completed. Okay, so we'd have to complete 2 downstairs rooms, 4 downstairs rooms, 6 downstairs rooms, etc. in order to do the reward for that. And once you have completed 2 of these downstairs room types, then you can choose one of the other 7 rewards. Okay, so here we've completed the fungus room and the Venus grotto. Both are completed, meaning all of the entrances are connected to entrances of stairs in this case, but other tiles in any case. We could then choose to do the activity completion reward and get 5 extra points, or the outdoor one and take 10,000 marks. It's our choice. Now, as I said, if we place a tile and that tile would complete another tile and be completed itself, or complete multiple tiles, then you would gain multiple rewards for completion. Okay, you would gain a completion reward for each room that tile completed. Okay, and then play would pass to the player to the left. Okay, and this will continue until everybody has taken their turn. At which point, the master player here would place 1 coin on any unpurchased room in under the contract stack here, under the contract board there, and he would pass the master builder marker to the player on his left. And then this would continue until you have reached the round when all of the room cards have been used. Okay, when this happens, you will fill in any empty spots that you can with empty rooms. Okay, and again, if you run out of cards, you have more empty spots than you have cards, you would shuffle all the cards and then draw as many as you need to fill the empty spots. Okay, at which point you would continue out the round and then you would calculate your score. Okay, now during scoring, you will do 4 steps. Okay, first step is you will score the king's favor tokens. Okay, now the person with the most of each favor will score 8 points. Second most will score 4. Third most in a 3-player game will score 2 points. Okay, so what that means in here for this case is the person with the most square footage, which is this black symbol behind the tree, in an outdoor room, which is the tree symbol, in their castle will gain 8 victory points. Okay, so if we look at this castle here, there are no outdoor rooms. We wouldn't score any. Okay, but if another castle had several of these outdoor tiles, like the terrace garden here in their castle, they would score points if they had the most square footage. And if we look at the top right of the outdoor tiles, or any tile for that matter, we will see the square footage, as well as on the back it says how many square feet there are. Okay, Whoever has the most will gain 8 points. Second most, 4 points. If there is a tie for first, then players would add the first and second place scores, which in this case would be 12, and then divide that by 2, which is 6, and each player would receive that many points. Okay? Here, the player with the most sleeping rooms in their castle would score 8 points, second most 4 points. So everybody would look at their castles, count up how many sleeping rooms they have in it, and then they would score that many points. Okay, now there are different types of king favors. Like this one would give the player with the most money at the end of the game the king's favor. Okay, you gain the points for it. Or this one where if you have the most circle rooms in your castle, or the most square rooms in your castle, you'll gain the victory points. Or ones like this where if you have the most large rooms in your castle, or the most small rooms in your castle, you'll gain the points. Okay, and then we have one like this where if you have the most completed rooms in your castle, you win the king's favor. Or this one where you have the most external entrances and exits to your castle. And then the last type is this one where if you have the most incomplete rooms in your castle, you win. Okay, so there'll either be one of these, or like this one, the most square footage of one type of room, or the most types of different rooms. Okay, next we will look at the room boards here. Okay, and then we will look to see if any of the room stacks are depleted. For every depleted room stack that is on the room boards, you will get 2 points for that type of room in your castle. So here we have the 200 rooms empty, the stack's empty. If we look at our castle, we have 1, 2, 3 of these rooms. We would gain 6 victory points. Brings us up to 18. Next, we will look at our bonus cards here, okay? And then we will gain victory points for the bonus points if they're fulfilled. Okay, now you need at least one of the required conditions in order to gain these bonus cards. Okay, so say here, for every 350 room you have in your castle, you gain 3 victory points. Okay, I happen to have 2 in this castle, 3 in this castle rather, so I would gain 9 points. If I did not have any in the castle, then I would gain no points. Okay, like here, for every outdoor room I have, I gain 2 victory points. I have one, I gain 2 points. Okay, so these are similar to the king favor tokens, where you gain victory points for meeting either a room type, or room size, or, you know, every completed room or whatnot. Okay, now the final way you can score victory points is by your marks. Okay, for every 10,000 marks you have, you will gain 1 victory point. Every 10,000, round it down. So here, I have 18,000 marks. I would only gain 1 victory point because I would round them down to the closest 10,000. Okay, which would be 10,000, I get 1 victory point. If I had 21 marks, then I'd get 2 victory points. You finish adding up your score. Whoever has the highest score wins the game, and that is how you play Castles of Mad King Ludwig.